Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome to another standard gameplay video, this time featuring a white, green and red or Naya +1/+1 counter deck without actually any new cards from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. This is a very similar deck to one I played a few weeks ago, which was a straight up green-white counter deck, but I have made some changes and I think for the better. We have taken out copies of Collector's Cage and Requisition Raid, which are two new cards which allow you to put... Collector's Cage has Hideaway 5 and then can put a counter on a creature you control. You pay 1 and tap it, and then if you have 3 or more creatures with different powers, you can play the card you've hid away. And then Requisition Raid is one of the new spree cards that lets you, one of the modes is put +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. I've taken those out and put in Brutal Cathar, not a +1/+1 enabler or payoff, but just a really good removal spell. And then the big changes, I've taken out Doomskull Warrior, which is a 4-drop 4/3, which has backup 1. And when it comes into play, you can put that counter on a creature you control, and then it gains Doomskull Warrior's text, which is whenever it deals damage to a player, you look at that many cards of your library and you can put a creature or land into your hand. I've replaced it with Halana and Alena Partners. This is, let's say, quite an old card now, a couple of years I think. It would have rotated out if they were doing the regular rotation. But anyway, it's a 4-mana red-green card with 2/3 first strike and reach. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, put X +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control, where X is this card's power. That creature gains haste at the end of turn. This is a really good +1/+1 counter payoff, because if you put your counters on the partners, then it buffs the target creature more. So you can put the counters on it from Bristly Bill or the Ozolith or Siege Veteran or Ornery Tumblewag, and then, you know, if you get it up to a 3/4 or a 4/5, it increases the amount of counters it then puts on a target creature. It's really good with Botanical Brawler, because if you have the Brawler in play and partners, you put the counter on the partners, Brawler gets a counter from its ability, and then you can use the partner's ability to put counters on the Brawler, leading to a massive trampler. I do think this works a bit better than the standard green-white counters deck, but that's something I'm definitely willing to play more. Our mana base then is pretty the same, just adding a couple of mountains and then 2 sundown passes. We only have 1 card that needs red mana, and we don't need it till turn 4, so we don't need an untapped red source on turn 1 or 2. And then still got Restless Prairie for a creature land and the Mirex to pump out a couple of tokens if you need those to finish the match. But yeah, that's the deck tech. As always, if you're enjoying this, please remember to like and subscribe, and let's get on to the gameplay. We have not the fastest hand, but we can get down Bristly Bill on turn 2 and then grow it straight away. And if they play something troublesome, we can get rid of it. We are on the draw, so maybe we draw a Hopeful Initiate, but it seems we're against mono red, so it's probably an automatic loss already. I'm just going to keep up, get lost. I was hoping they had one of the pump spells, but let's get down Bristly Bill, get down a Brushland. I imagine we're going to have to chump. Chum with the hopeful initiate. Going to keep up Wandering Emperor. Which will allow us to exile whatever they attack with and gain some life. Right, let's make sure I press the right button this time.
I'm not overconfident. You are not much of a roadblock.
Play the Duelist, then play the Prairie. Gonna stay back until we have a bit more of a board presence because they do have a lot of things with haste. Well, clearly they saw enough. They're still probably in the better position. If they had a slick shot show off that could fly over, they could have probably still got in for lethal. So I think maybe they skipped a bit early, but you know, not going to complain too much. Let's move on. We have a keepable hand. Won't be able to get the initiate out on turn 1 unless we draw an untapped land. Well, we can, but I'd rather get the Brawler out on turn 2 than Tumble Wag out on turn 3. A 1/1 Hydra. I will play out the Duelist just as this allows us to start drawing cards with the Tumblewag. A 4th land for the mountain would be... what a surprise, it's a red deck with Play with Fire. Play out the Duelist and the Initiate. Do they have another removal spell? Looks like they do. Yes. Well, luckily we do then have a 3rd Dusk Legion Duelist. Their own Botanical Brawler. What we can get down now. Halana and Alena. Pump up the Duelist. The Brawler gets pumped as well. And then next turn we can get down the Tumblewag, which pumps up the Halana Alena. Although that is... Luckily we can block all of their things, even though I misclicked and didn't. Get down Ozolith. get down the Tumblewag. Put that on the Duelist to draw, then put that on the Halana and Alena. Swing in with the Duelist. They'll flash back the Angel Fire Ignition. So, block, nearly need a block there, which is, no, I'm going to block the Anim Pakal with the Dust Legion Duelist, because then I'm hoping we might be able to just get the Botanical Brawler up enough to swing in for lethal. Pump up the Halana and Alena with that. That'll put a counter on the Brawler. Put that on the Brawler. Oh, I've messed up again. I was meant to saddle the Tumblewag. I think we're dead. Yeah. Oh well, they conceded. I'm not sure why, because we were dead. They could have swung out, and then but yeah, massive punt. I was meant to saddle my Tumblewag. I keep on forgetting that you can only saddle at sorcery speed, whereas you can crew vehicles at instant speed. But you know, happy to see them scoop. Let's move on. Well, we can get down Botanical Brawler on turn 2, and then Bristly Bill on turn 3 and Groam straight away, and we have removal depending on what they play. Again, I'd like to hope for Initiate, but can't have everything. And there's a Tumblewag. I can get rid of that with a Boseiju, which I think I will do. Not quite yet though. Swinging for 3. I actually can do it for. Actually, I will do it for now, using 1 mana. It does ramp them, which is unfortunate, but well, clearly their game plan relied on us not being able to cast more than 1 spell a turn. But yeah, let's move on. have, I think, a keepable hand. You can play Botanical Border on turn 2, and then the Ornery Tumblewag or Brutal Cathar on turn 3, depending on what they play. We'll play the tap land first. Maybe a Reanimator deck, which could be quite scary. Play out the Tumblewag. Put a counter on itself, which will grow the Brawler, and then swing it for 3. If we get that 4th land for Halana and Alena, well, there it is. But I might just exile and then remember to saddle. And double the counters on the Brawler. Turn it into an 8/8. So now what we can do is play the partners. Let's buff up that. Only swinging with the Tumblewag for now. Terror of the Peaks. Oh, Chumbers and Carnosaur. Well, yeah, that was going to do more damage to them than it was to us. And on our next turn, we could play Ozolith and Siege Veteran and basically just make a few creatures massive and just swing in. Yeah, great. That went really well. Let's move on. We're on the draw with an okay hand. We have a 3-drop to put counters on things would be good, but hopefully we draw into it. I'll play the tap land. And then next time we can get down the Brawler. Second Brawler's okay. It will pump the first Brawler. If this is a Calyx deck, then we will want to take out the Calyx. You can destroy that. It was a pretty good turn for them. Should have played the brushland there so we could get down my initiate as well. But we'll play out the brawler. Then we're going to take a big hit. But then on our turn, we can get down Halana and Alena and start growing the brawler. Or not. Halana Alena is not ideal because it can't buff itself at all. So I'm going to play the initiate and then I'm going to get lost the naturalist. And then by putting counters on the initiate, if it survives, we can take out the ossifications. That's if we survive for long enough. Which I don't think we're going to. No. Those two ossifications really did it in for us. No, let's move on. We have a pretty slow hand. We can remove any creatures, but they will get a lot of map tokens. No way to enable the Dust Legion Duelist, but I don't know, let's give it a go. We are on the play. Over tap land first. Fully expect this to get removed. Not, but that is a good target for a get lost. Or we'll get down to Cathar, use all our mana, and then swing in. Good. Siege Veteran is a way to draw with the Duelist. Swing in. Play out the farmland, play the brawler, and we can pay for the ward on the virtuoso. So I think we need to. I'll kill the vanguard, which will shrink the virtuoso. This will pump the brawler and the duelist, and we'll draw. Swing him with the duelist. Then we're going to take a big hit here. I'm fine with taking 6. play out the Ozolith. Let's pump up the duelist. Draw a card. And then we'll pump up the Siege Veteran as well. And then we will swing in and we'll keep up Get Lost for that. There we go. They could have blocked to avoid lethal, but I think there wasn't much point. And then on the next turn, we play down Halana and Alena, which just synergizes so well with the other +1/+1 counters. Let's move on. Hello Magic fans and welcome back to the wrap up. As I said in the deck tech, I prefer this to the standard green-white counters deck. I think it is a bit more powerful, and although limited numbers, the stats I think from my games bear that out. I played 14 games with this deck and won 7. 50% win rate's not fantastic, but with the standard green-white I played 10 and had a win rate of 3. So it is better than that, although some mitigating circumstances. Out of those 10 matches with the standard deck, the original deck, 5 were against mono red, and I think I won 1 of them, whereas only 2 matches with the Naya deck were mono red, and I had a 50% win rate against that. Interestingly, across both decks, there's a 100% win rate against Boros, so straight up red-white. Maybe because they take a bit longer to get going than mono red, and once you get creatures on the board and start pumping them in this, it's very hard to deal with. You know, I think in one game I got up my botanical ball up to 2020, and probably could have got even higher. So really enjoyed it. So I prefer this to the standard green-white deck, and I hope you all enjoyed it too. And if you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.